I'm Jammer, and today I want to talk to you about Astral Chain. Admittedly, it wasn't really on my radar too much as, you know, in the coming months of obviously the announcements of the game, but I always knew, since it's a platinum game, you know, like, I knew to expect high quality. But you know what? I didn't expect it to draw me in as much as it has. For perspective, this is the first game to actually draw my attention away from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yeah, that's right. Since the release of that game, I've been basically playing it every single day. And after booting up Astral Chain for the first time, I started getting stuck with the decision of, oh my gosh, do I play Astral Chain again tonight? Or do I go back to Fire Emblem? And, you know, I end up usually doing both, and then I'd stay up really late. So it's been a long week. So I really want to talk about Astral Chain to you guys and really kind of show you everything I've experienced so far and kind of give you a good brief overview of what you could expect and see if it's kind of a game for you. When you first boot up the game, you're immediately prompted with this weird looking, shifting, maybe core crystal or Pokeball-esque thing. It immediately throws you into the question of, okay, what's going on here? You're introduced to a couple of new characters quickly, and you soon pick up on, okay, there's some sort of experiment going on here. And then out of nowhere, the core crystal thing explodes, this monster comes out and just starts slamming and slamming onto the glass. And you know what the press guy's doing? He doesn't care. He's not even phased. He just stands there. So you think you can approach me?
Activate the Astral Chain.
And then the credits roll. But then we're right back to the action, and the monster gets restrained, but then he gets these giant swords, and he starts attacking the glass, and somehow the guy's still not phased. He's not even phased in slice. Like, this is his 9 to 5. He just sees this every single day. If it isn't obvious, this introduction completely floored me. I had no idea that I was signing up for this kind of introduction to a game. All of a sudden, I'm just thrown into it. A just insane, high production cutscene just right off the bat. But it goes farther than that. You are then immediately introduced to the two protagonists of the game. They talk about how they need some new police force people for their team called Neuron. It just so happens the twin brother and sister of the protagonist happen to be the next perfect candidates for the system. It then seamlessly shifts to a character creation where then you can now select to be either playing as the sister or the brother. And you can customize your character, giving them different eye color, hairstyles, whatever. And a quick thing to note about it is, yes, you can change all of your aesthetics later on. That's something I'm personally always curious about when it comes to character creation, so yes, you can change everything again. It's not like you're stuck with the same eye color the whole game. After selecting and creating your character, they shot a little exposition saying, oh, we gotta see her field test, see how she does, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're in the action. You're all of a sudden on a motorcycle, shooting bad guys, chasing down a high-speed highway chase. There's laser blasts going this way, there's turned over cars, explosions, and you're like, what? I just started the game. All I wrote was my name. And did I mention, we're maybe 5 minutes into the game now. It is such a great preview for what is later to be in store for the game. You are thrown immediately into action. High adrenaline, high stakes, and then you're thrown into an actual combat situation, what you'll typically be used to for, you know, the majority of the game. Well, after I guess you have to carry this guy real fast, but then you start fighting people. And to my surprise, it isn't as combat oriented as Bayonetta is. Bayonetta, you know, has certain combat trees that you have to kind of memorize, in addition to different button combinations to enact certain kinds of combos. In this game, you just click the trigger. That's it. And then yes, you know, they build off of that, but the main way to just attack is you just click the trigger. It's very simple and straightforward. Because that's the only thing that does kind of turn me away from these action games is sometimes the combo trees can be just like a little too complex to where, in a way, I just kind of forget what even combos I have to offer or what I can do in actually an intense situation. So I actually really enjoyed the simplicity that was initially shown here. Beyond the tutorial and throughout my playtime, you do eventually start getting new moves you can incorporate into your tool set while you're in battles and such, but they're all introduced in like separate increments, you know, naturally. So you get one new ability, you basically can play around with it in the next couple battles or not use it if you choose not to, and then after a little while, you're then introduced to a new weapon or a new skill or a new type of combo finisher, and then you can experiment around with it afterwards as well. What I really appreciated is, you know, the tutorial wasn't just hand-holding. It's about like, click X to punch, click B to roll. It told you some basics, and then the rest was just like, you know, go nuts. So you're fighting some bad guys, you're in overhead, and all of a sudden these super awesome police team members come in and they just whoop butt. They got these crazy looking aliens on chains, and I'm like, what is going, can I have one of those? Come on. Near the finale of the introduction sequence, in classic, of course, video game tropes, but it's also very effective to where the protagonist gets basically all the end game abilities right off the bat in the intro sequence. You had your standard stuff, you got your Chimera, and then you're doing some more stuff, but then all of a sudden you're just OP, and you're just doing these crazy, crazy combos. It's that instant sense of reward that like that fulfills the player where like, whoa, I just did something super cool. I don't know what I'm doing, but this is super cool. And of course, in video game trope fashion, you lose all your powers. Just like Samus loses her armor, just like Bayonetta loses her something. And after suffering a loss, the protagonist is now inspired and has their goal in mind, and we now know what the point of the game is to save the world, your dad, something like that. I don't know. And then we are treated with one of the best video game sequences I've played this year, and that is the Astral Chain anime intro. Dude, when this went on, I just started cracking up and laughing. I was like, no way they actually did this. And like, it ends with the logo and everything. Perfection. Literal perfection. And I just, after that concludes, I'm like, this is Astral Chain, everyone. After the, high adrenaline that is the tutorial segment finally concludes, the game does slow down for a second. Gives the player an actually breather, a moment to kind of relax and not just be in instant action the entire time. At this point, you have the option to kind of free roam and kind of explore, the headquarters home base, do some upgrades here and there, but as well as go to the training room where you're actually able to practice specific exact moves that your player can do. Cause see, typically in like, when games force a tutorial on the player, it's kind of just skip through it and you're like, I don't really care, But in this case, I was like, you know what? I know I typically do struggle with action games as far as controls and combos and whatnot. I'm like, now that we're in a calm, peaceful environment and not in the middle of some introduction sequence, not trying to do some mission, I can take my time and learn each move as I go, And I found it very helpful. I really loved how they formatted it. The introduction sequence did introduce some things, but that really was up to the player to kind of just experiment and basically just button mash or whatever's gonna work. And then afterwards, the game doesn't force the player to do all of the training videos, but it does say, hey, they are right here. Feel free to use them all if you want. Ignore them, it doesn't matter. And I really love that because, it made it more accessible for people like me who maybe aren't as good or can pick up as quickly action combat games. So talking more about the combat, I really love how they really experimented with the idea of, the player kind of controlling two characters at once, being the player character as well as your chimera. It definitely takes some getting used to, but once you kind of get the swing of things, it's a really different kind of playstyle than you might be used to, because not only are you controlling yourself in the combos you're doing, but you're also kind of, maneuvering your chimera to either get certain positions, execute certain types of attacks, attack certain enemies, do certain special moves. So you're kind of working together with yourself, if that makes sense. It's much different than any other RPG game where it's just like, maybe you tell Rex to go over there and attack that person or use this certain combo move on that enemy. It's nothing like that. You have literal direct control over your chimera. As long as you're holding down the left trigger, using the camera stick, you can physically move your chimera around. What's really cool is the chain between you two is not only an actually interactable object with the environment, but like it's used in combat as well as puzzle solving, as well as platforming. You can use the chain to just whip someone and fall them on the ground. You can spin around an enemy with the chain to lock them in place, pivot the chain around an edge, and you can kind of platform and jump around a corner. There's a lot of unique ways that they use the actual physical chain between you and your chimera, and I really love how the game experiments with the idea. I think they take the idea of, these two characters chained together, but actually make gameplay mechanics based around the fact that you're actually connected, And I think it's really cool that not only is it incorporating just like loose puzzle solving stuff, but it's actually very integral to the overall entire combat system of the game. As far as the story, yes, it's kind of cheesy at points, but I feel like it's not taking itself too seriously, but at the same time it has its own identity, and that's what I really love about it. It does have a really unique world building game, because being a sci-fi game in a way was almost a breath of fresh air for me, because I haven't really played much sci-fi in a while. So like seeing this new futuristic world with all this like cool technology and stuff was actually a really awesome aesthetic I love for the game. But I'll admit there is one issue I do have with the game, and has to kind of do with the protagonist. I love the idea that it's a brother and sister combo. I also love the idea you can either choose to play as the brother or the sister. And what's really cool is if you choose the brother, for example, the sister has all the voice acted lines as your, secondary companion. In addition to, if the roles are reversed and you select the female character, your brother will have all the voice lines for all the cutscenes and whatnot. So it's really cool that this experience is tailored for whatever character you end up choosing. But they fall victim to the trope of the silent protagonist. And I think I don't know. It just feels so awkward. You see the character interacting with not only their sibling, but their twin sibling, right? And all the player character goes is, no! They went through all the lengths to re-record the lines of the secondary sibling twice for both campaigns of being either the male or the female character. I almost wish they had just gone the extra mile, and I mean, they already have a voice actor for the male and female. Why not just give lines to the character you actually play as well? I get the idea is, whatever character you play as is the chosen one, and the other one is the sibling, so it's not like you can switch back and forth throughout the game. That could have been a cool way they did it, but they went with this route instead. I really love the idea of it's telling a story of siblings, but then as soon as one of the siblings doesn't talk, it doesn't feel like a sibling story anymore. It feels like just, I'm playing the silent protagonist again, and this is my brother, If I was able to see the sister and the brother interact on screen in cutscenes and whatnot, and bicker back and forth on the radios, like siblings would, it could have been an even more immersive story. It still works as it is. It isn't the most worst drawback in the world, but it was kind of the first thing I noticed as soon as the cutscene started playing, that I'm like, you know what? I wish my character was saying something. I wish I could be interacting with my brother here. Perhaps it's just kind of the direction they wanted to take this game. I mean, this could have been the game where, you play one chapter as the brother and the next chapter as the sister, and each cutscene alternates based on perspectives. They could have done something along the lines of that, but it seemed like they wanted to give the player the choice to be one of either the male or female Akira. And I do appreciate that choice. It's just, I don't know, it's just something I thought of when playing the game. While Astral Chain can be full on and high adrenaline, there actually is a lot of opportunities for downtime. It isn't just fight. There's a lot of opportunities where, you're not even fighting any enemies. You're actually not even in a hostile area at all. As a police officer, you actually go to crime scenes and investigate crimes and the mysterious happenings in the town. You can use your Batman vision, basically, and get that X-ray view and check out unique interactable stuff around in the crime scene. Watch a live replay of it with this cool technology. Beyond that, you can interview the nearby witnesses, witnesses, in addition to actually being able to do some little side quest stuffs in the little area as well. There was this one side quest, it was so ridiculous, but there was a soccer ball a little ways back that if you ran into it, it would kick and go flying. And then later in the mission, you run into these little kids hey, we can't find our soccer ball. And you run back and bring the soccer ball with you. It's a pain in the butt, but you can bring it back and you can complete a quest on them. And once you actually even bring the soccer ball to them, they actually will give you another quest to then actually hit the ball through the goal wall and play basically soccer with them. And I'm all of a sudden I'm playing soccer with a bunch of random kids. What happened to the action game? And I really like this because it kind of gave a break from the intense action that is this game. Because I personally get pretty worn out when I'm playing action games. If it's just mission after mission, battle after battle, it gets exhausting. Not only physically, moving the controller, but visually stimulating. It's just it's too much sometimes. They add in these sections of, exploring the headquarters, doing the crime scene stuff, to give you kind of a break from the intense action. It doesn't feel like padding or filler in any way. It isn't just useless, mindless stuff. Well, maybe it could be seen that way. I think it really actually works not only with the narrative of the story, but also, again, like I said, gives the player the opportunity to just calm down and have a break for a second. Astral Chain was not what I expected in all the right ways. With a very unique combat system controlling 2 characters, as well as a really great setting to set the game in. I've just been having a lot of fun playing the game. Well, yes, it's a platinum game, and of course with that, you could expect a good amount of challenge when fighting bosses and whatnot. But what is really cool, they do offer 3 different difficulty settings, one that has unlimited revives, and one that even has auto fight. Literally, you just can auto fight through a battle. So this game is really beginner friendly in that way, because if there's a boss that's just ridiculous and you're over it, you just want to keep experiencing the story, you literally can just click auto fight and it just goes. And then on the other side of things, for the more hardcore fans, there's the ranked mode where you can actually get rankings on each stage you play, and you only have 3 revives or less, so you can still experience the regular kind of platinum difficulty that you're used to expecting in their kind of games. Astral Chain is definitely a game worth checking out if you're interested in something like this. A great mix of action, story, characters, as well as a really well established world. I think there's something you'll really enjoy here if you give it a shot. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a big awesome like. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe for tons more on other Nintendo Switch content. Thanks again guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!